The following broadcast is intended for mature audiences. These are real people sharing very real, deeply personal experiences. This content may be considered triggering for others and for those who are sharing. The chat room is a privilege intended for discussions and sharing. You are not being asked to agree, but you are being asked to stay civil and refrain from personal attacks. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome back to Am I Mental, a weekly live podcast where real people share real stories about living life with mental health illnesses and issues that impact mental health. I'm your host, E. With us, as always, are the co-host, Bexy.
Hello.
And C.
Hello.
So, we were really excited. We had confirmed that we were going to have someone from the UK on this episode. And you may notice I'm speaking in the past tense. At 5:10 this evening, about 20 minutes before we were supposed to meet up, get an email going, I forgot that the time change happened, and it'd be 2 a.m. here, and that's too early, even though they had spent the entire week telling me they're a night owl and that wouldn't be a problem. It happens, and hopefully we could get them on anyway. No hard feelings, it's just, damn it. So...
alone again.
Lonely.
One is the lonely. Wait, there's three of us. That's not us.
But we do have something to talk about, and it's kind of a blessing in disguise. Late last week, we got my son. It's beginning last week. My son, who has CRMS, for people that aren't familiar with that's cystic fibrosis-related metabolic syndrome. He doesn't have cystic fibrosis yet, but he will develop it, most likely. Now, there's different stages of severity for CRMS. There's the stage of severity that is so low, like almost half the stages are like, yeah, you'll probably die of natural causes in old age before you ever go full-blown cystic fibrosis. But you might have some symptoms beforehand. So the most mild being, you'll never even have a symptom. With the most severe cases being your child, even though they're only a month old, and this is your very first appointment with us, has gone from CRMS to full-blown cystic fibrosis already. My son's actually on the more severe end of the spectrum, just not that severe. He's in that range of will probably flip to cystic fibrosis. Could be as early as kindergarten to as late as going into high school. Most likely at the beginning they were saying be ready for kindergarten, first or second grade. Like the grade school flip is the most likely. The good news is that he's been progressing slowly. The bad news is that he is now officially pre-cystic fibrosis. His labs are coming back more and more elevated all the time. And I tried dealing with it. I tried to internalize it and examine it and see how I felt about it. I kept telling myself, with the advances in medication and science, we should be good. I mean, there's a pill that you can take twice a day that will reduce your sweat chloride levels, which is one of the biggest measurements, because when you start to desalinate, you start building mucus in your system. That's what actually cystic fibrosis winds up doing, is it desalinates you. You start getting thick mucus built up in your lungs, in your spleen, in your gallbladder, your liver ducts, intestines. Yeah, it is not a friendly disease. But there is a pill that you take twice a day, once in the morning, once in the evening, and it can drop the sweat chloride levels by like a massive amount. It's $1,000 a pill.
Oh, wow. Oh, son of a bitch.
However, and this is the big however, not one insurance plan in the United States doesn't cover it 100%. That means that because we have insurance, we would be 100% covered. We would never spend a penny on these pills. Reason being, these pills, in the long run, are cheaper than liver transplants, lung transplants, having parts of intestine cut out, and everything that goes along with that. So, fortunately, it's covered.
That's a blessing.
That's good.
Yeah.
So good.
Also, my son, the gene that he inherited, so the way that it works is that you have to have a cystic fibrosis gene, and you have to have a malformed protein. I can't think of the proper term that they use for that. It's not malformed exactly, but basically that's what it is.
Abnormal?
Yeah, kind of. It's a protein that folded funky, and it's passed on from generation to generation. Now, having a cystic fibrosis gene, harmless. Having this protein, harmless. Having both, dangerous. Less dangerous than having two people that, like, say, a mom that has the gene and the dad that has the gene, and then they pass both genes on to their kid. That kid is born with cystic fibrosis immediately. I mean, there's no wait period. They are immediately needing the full battery of medication and treatment immediately. But the good news is since about 20 years ago, the average life expectancy was 20 years. Just recently, that had doubled to 40 years over a 20-year period, which is incredible. Absolutely incredible. Now, some of you may be older listeners, or you might have heard stories about that you used to have a blood test before you could get married. It was literally because of cystic fibrosis. They would not let you get married if both of you were carriers of the gene, because there's a 1 in 4 chance that you were going to have a kid that would die before they ever reach kindergarten. And it's a painful, slow, suffocating, like at a cellular level, death. When my son went to his first appointment, they had just developed a vaccine for one of the least common genes. Before that, let me back up a little bit more. My kids, my two youngest kids, they are both the result of IVF. I had a vasectomy in my first marriage, and 10 years later got married again and had a reversal. But the boys weren't swimming so well. We were both close to 40, and her eggs also had a lot of debris. Basically, what I'm saying is that without intervention, we probably would never have had our kids. Now, they do screen for the genes for cystic fibrosis, and they also screen for the 60 most common abnormal proteins. My protein did not get flagged by the screening because it was beyond the 60 they checked for, because it's one of the more rare ones. So, yeah, we had to let the IVF company know, hey, this happened. So now they're getting even more intense with their screening on the proteins, which is good. You know, if we can spare this problem in the future, that'd be great. Because then it's like, you know, they could have checked the embryos and gone, yeah, this one's going to have CRMS. Maybe we don't want to implant this one. But we are here today with my son, and this is the life that we have. And I mean, he's a great kid. He's a serious smart ass. He is headstrong. He is determined. He's hilarious. He's super sweet. He's funny. He's got a wicked sense of humor. I mean, he's
his daddy 2.0.
Basically, yes. Except that he's cute. Oh my God, he's cute. He's going to be a heartbreaker.
Oh, he is freaking adorable. Oh my God.
Now, I'm just going to throw
the cutest kid.
I'm just going to throw this out there, and I don't care if it causes any hate, but I have to say that mixed race babies are the most beautiful. And my kids are mixed race. So there you go. I might be a little biased.
Okay. So in the chat room, we have May who says, I'm sorry you got abandoned again. And when you were talking about the insurance covering the pill, she says it's so amazing. And now we have Floating Duck saying, except he's smart.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, whoever you are, Floating Duck, thank you for coming back. You had me in stitches laughing last time. I had to mute myself a couple times because you were damn funny. So, yeah, at this point, so they had that vaccine that they were developing, and it was thanks to the Human Genome Project having completed, they were able to map out all the genes, and they went, okay, so these genes specifically cause cystic fibrosis. Let's go for this lesser one. That's maybe like 3% of the cases have this gene, and they developed a vaccine. And that was under final stages of testing at our first appointment. 6 months later, we go in for the second appointment. That vaccine is now on the market. It was successful. And now they're developing one for another smaller, not as common gene. 6 months later, we go back. That one had passed testing. So now there's 2 vaccines on the market. And I don't know if this means like vaccine, like you get it once and you're good, or more like the flu shot where you have to go and get boosters. Sketchy on those details right now. But they announced that they were going after the whale of genes. The one that 75% of cystic fibrosis patients have, which happens to be the gene my son has. Took a year before we finally got to hear some results. A complete success. And on top of that, they've been able to put the 3 vaccines together into one, so it now targets something like 80% of all the cystic fibrosis patients out there in one vaccine. And again, insurance 100% covered. The vaccine itself is about $1,500. Again,
That's amazing.
But the vaccine, way more effective than the pill. Yeah, better than the pill. I mean, that pill was great at lowering the sodium chloride levels, or the sweat chloride levels, but it didn't actually reverse cystic fibrosis. It just kind of put a Band-Aid on it. You know, it's kind of like, you know, when those cartoons where they stick the finger in the dam to keep the water from leaking out, but the rest of the dam is cracking all around. That's kind of what those pills did. This is actually like opening the floodgates and letting the water go safely. So yeah, that's really awesome to know. And I was trying to internalize all that, you know, going, he's going to be fine. The way that this medication is advancing right now, it's unbelievable. The way that the whole cystic fibrosis research is going is like, I mean, warp speed. I've never heard of stuff developing this fast in my life. To get an extra 20 years life expectancy over a 20-year period is amazing. You added these pills, and now you add in the vaccines. The average life expectancy of someone born with cystic fibrosis is now over 80.
Oh, that's so good.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That is so good.
Now, my generation was predicted that 50% of us would live to see 100. My son's generation, you know, I think that he's actually a Zoomer, unless they started a new generation already, because, I mean, yeah. I don't know where the cutoff is. But anyway, he is supposed to be something closer, like 80 or 75 to 80% chance of hitting 100. 80 seems a little shy, but as far as it goes now, that's actually really good. And who knows? Maybe in another 10, 15, 20 years, it might be that he's expected to die of age before he dies of cystic fibrosis. But still, hearing that he hit that mark, you know, he crossed that threshold. He is now pre-cystic fibrosis. Yesterday, I don't know why, but it got deep in my head, got deep in my feels, and I wound up just breaking down and sobbing while at work. I work from home, which is nice, so, you know, I was alone, but one of my managers realized something's not right with me. My call handling times are a lot longer, and he went to listen in on one of my calls, and he's messaged me. He's like, hey, I'm listening on one of your calls. Are you okay? And I'm like, no. Is it that obvious? He's like, only to people that know you would they have ever known that there's something wrong. He's like, and I've listened to enough of your calls to know something's wrong. And I explained, hey, my son's condition, you know, it just got worse. And it's a life-threatening condition. Even with all the medications and everything, it's still a life-threatening condition. All it takes is an allergic reaction to some of the medications, and that's it. what other options do we have right now? Really none. It's either I hope he's not allergic to the medications. I mean, cystic fibrosis itself is basically your body being allergic to itself.
I'm familiar with that concept.
Yeah.
In a different way.
Yeah, basically your body is like, my body is a disease and I must kill myself.
Yes.
His is, allergen! It's gonna kill us! Kill it! Well, that's your body.
Right. Oh, May has a good comment here. She said, "You're saying vaccine, but it sounds like more of a gene therapy."
It is. It is targeted gene therapy. They're marketing it as a vaccine, but it is absolutely targeted gene therapy. Yeah, and it's pretty fantastic. And it's kind of, the condition is so rare that every doctor that we've ever taken him to, except for, of course, the specialist, the allergist, and one other doctor, had no clue that CRMS was even a thing. They were all working under the assumption of, I thought that either you had cystic fibrosis or you don't. I never heard of developing it. I was like, yeah, well, I know it's still a new field. I get that. And doctors, they can't possibly know everything. There's so much that's coming out every day. That's just not possible. But yeah, having to sit down and go, okay, so here's what it is. Here's how it works. This is the gene that he has. This is the protein he got from me. The protein will start to act more and more like the other half of the genes and start triggering the gene. It'll start expressing, and when it starts expressing, that's bad. So this, the targeted gene therapy is also about epigenetics. The idea being that when you get the shot, it's supposed to go through your body and basically go around and go to every copy of that gene in every cell. You don't activate, you don't activate, you don't activate, you don't activate. Basically, in a sense, like kind of killing it, but it's more putting it to where it's like putting a stopper so it can't activate. Kind of like putting insulation over a wire. The electricity's not going to go anywhere else. Especially if you put a insulation over the end of the wire and you plug it into something and it isn't going to do shit. That's the idea. But yeah, my boss, fortunately, the company I work for, they are absolutely amazing. Yeah, he told me to take the day. And then today, he was like, hey, you're having long handle times again. How you doing? I'm like, look, I'm 2 minutes away from my final break of the day. And then I just have to power through an hour and 15 minutes. It's rough, but I think I can do it. He's like, all right, well, go ahead and take your break now. And when you get back, let's just see if you do it. It's like, if you can't do it, you can't do it. We're not going to hold it against you. And I'm like, yeah, but I kind of need to pay. Because tomorrow, there's a good chance I'm going to be on jury duty. Yay.
Oh, fun.
Oh, yay.
Yeah. Yesterday, it's like, every day it's like, check after 5 p.m. Okay, check. Friday night. Nope, I'm not called in. Check Monday. Nope, not called in. Tuesday, not called in. Wednesday, I'm like, I'm not called in, but my group number is literally the top of the list. I'm probably going to get called in. Well, I checked today, and it's all, you must check between 11:15 and noon for a possible 1 o'clock. I'm like, please, everybody settle. I don't want to... I mean, it would be nice. It'd be nice to be able to just go sit and listen to audiobooks for hours on end, just doing nothing else. Like, I've been called to jury duty, where I had to go to the courthouse a number of times now, and I've never actually been brought in for jury selection. So I still don't even know what that process is like. I've done it through, mock trials. But yeah.
I've had jury duty before and never got chosen, but did sit all day and play games on my tablet and phone or whatever and read a book.
Well, fortunately, I have that nice new iPhone 12 with a massive battery case. I literally only have to charge my phone every other day right now because of it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, of course, my son's like, well, my Android does that. I'm like, yeah, but your Android doesn't get support after a couple of years. There's iPhone 6S's that still work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it would be nice to be able to have that time to just sit in that nice little quiet area in the courthouse with my headphones on and just drift
Chill.
away.
Right.
We'll see.
Oh, Kat says she's been on multiple juries before, and May says I always get removed.
Yeah.
So, do you have any prejudices? I hate everybody! Just simple. You say they're guilty. Why? Well, I mean, everybody's guilty of something. They got arrested. They're guilty. Maybe not of this crime, but they're guilty.
Big brain moment.
Yeah. Prosecution's like, we want him. Defense is like, get out of here. Although, if you ever want a really good movie.
Kat says first time was a 3-month triple murder. Oh my god.
Oh my
Holy
god.
crap.
I am actually exempt from jury duty now.
Because of Adam?
Yes. Because I am his sole I am his caretaker, and yeah, so I don't have to. I just have to fill out a paper and send it in. So I've only gone in the one time.
Yeah, I had one person that I know from a company who they were going to try to put him on a murder trial, and they said that the predicted length of the trial would be a year plus. And he just flat out said, I won't do it. They're like, well, you're going to have job protection and all that. He's like, yeah, I can't live off of the pay of a juror, which is, I mean, way below even minimum wage. Like, can't do it. Not going to happen. I'm just not going to show up. You could go ahead and arrest me. I don't care. I'm not doing it.
If I remember correctly.
And they actually let him go because he was a combative juror.
If I remember correctly, just for going up there, I think I got like a $6.41 check for spending all day sitting in a courthouse.
Yeah, I get like here in California, I think it's like $7 plus any bus fare that you may have used if you had to take mass transit.
Uh.
Yeah.
Ooh,
So, yeah.
Kat says, yep, the guy killed his brother, father, and mother. Ugh.
Woo!
Grizzly.
Wow, really wanted Grandpa's inheritance, didn't he?
I guess so.
Well, like I said, where there's a will, there's a family tearing itself apart. But yeah, so that's what I've been dealing with lately. Other than that, my SAD, not an issue. We are now full-blown spring mode. Days are longer than nights. I'm in heaven.
I was like, ooh, we have happy E in that aspect.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. Because, like, get off at work at 5 o'clock during dead of winter. It's already dark out. Get off work at 5 o'clock during the summertime. I still got hours of sunlight left. Hell yeah! I just wish that California would stop with the time change. I get it. California is still a massive agricultural state. We produce, I think, like a third of all the food for the United States. It is crazy how much agriculture we have in such a small space. Because you'd think that the Midwest would be doing it. Nope. Our avocado crops supply the nation.
Wow.
Uh-oh. Somebody said something funny.
Yeah, Javern said, you mean you're supposed to experience the sunlight?
That big, shiny ball of death and eye pain.
You know,
Burns.
that really does suck, because I love the warmer weather and I love to be in the sunlight, but because of my autoimmune condition and the medicine that I have to take, I am super, super, super prone to sunstroke and heat stroke.
Ooh.
So I can't be in the sun for more than 5-10 minutes before I start to feel really crappy. So I've had to learn to small doses of sunlight every day. Like, I'll walk outside and stand in the sun for 5 or 6 minutes, and later it'll be, oh, it's time to check the mail or take the trash out or something like that. So, and
Right.
it also has a bad effect of making me vitamin D deficient. So, yay.
Right. Yeah, and what's the best way to get vitamin D? The sun.
The sun.
It's
Yep. Meanwhile, C's going, wow, I may have anxiety, but man, my life is so much better than this shit. Holy crap.
you have a pretty good life, yeah.
Yeah, you know, it's kind of funny how you start reflecting on what other people go through. You're like, my life's not so bad.
I feel that way all the time. It's on my worst days, and then I'll see somebody who is just sad and down, and I'm like, oh, I want to hug you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you feel so bad today.
Man. And I'm just so tired. I barely slept last night.
Oh,
Oh, I mean, that's some, major news and development on the front of your son and everything. That's
Yeah, but I mean...
yeah.
I got that text message and I broke down into tears. Because I have not met this kid personally, but I mean, I've been watching him grow up.
You've seen all the photos, you've seen all the videos.
Right.
I
This kid is so full of life and love and exuberance, and he's just to think about, him possibly having a significantly shortened life, it hurt me so bad because he deserves so much more than that. And, thankfully with the, the vaccine that you were talking about and the medical developments, those are all wonderful things that are going to help him have that life that he deserves.
I agree. And right now, I mean, we treat him like he's normal because up until just recently, every lab was within normal ranges. And yes, he's now pre-cystic fibrosis, so now our office visits are going to be more frequent. The labs are going to be more frequent. We're going to keep closer tabs on it. But until he has symptoms, there's nothing that we're going to do. It's that whole, why actually start treating him like he has cystic fibrosis when he doesn't?
Right. It's like, let him be a kid. Let him go play t-ball and swim and all the things that he loves to do because he's so active.
Oh, yeah. He plays t-ball. He plays soccer. He's in swim lessons. He just loves being outside. We actually just set up a swimming pool 2 days ago. The water's finally getting warm enough to where we might be able to swim in it by next month. But no, and right, I mean, they're out there playing in it right now. But yeah, he's just to give you an idea. Like, I mean, after yesterday, my breakdown, I've been spending a lot more extra quality time with him, and my dad got him a set of like monster truck toys. Wondering if you like monster trucks or not. I'm like, this kid, if it has wheels, this kid loves it. Well, the monster trucks are now like his favorite toy in the world. So I was like, I used to go and watch monster trucks. I used to actually be in the pits. My dad's best friend used to was a professional mud bog drag racer. He's been on ESPN doing the mud bog drag racing in the Superdome up in Seattle. So when he came down to California, he'd pick us all up in his RV with his mud bogger, behind on the trailer. If you ever get the chance, it was late 80s, early 90s. The name of the mud bogger was Risky Business, and it had Roger Rabbit on the front running because the guy's name was Roger. So, yeah, he went with Roger Rabbit. And yeah, it was a lot of fun. You got to spend, entire weekends, like 3-4 days in the pits, watching them work on their mud boggers. Monster trucks were always a part of it. Monster tanks. Got to see the jet car that transformed into a robot and had a flamethrower hand. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, I got to see some, Yeah, it's about as redneck and hick as it fucking gets, but I tell you what, that shit is fucking amazing.
Oh my god. Kat says, I love monster trucks. And
May? That's her
yes.
name, right?
Yeah, May.
She has a question for you, E. Does your insurance cover this therapy?
Yes, the insurance covers it all because the insurance does not want to pay for transplants. They will pay for everything else because they don't want to have to do a transplant. So one thing that when you have cystic fibrosis, or if you're pre-cystic fibrosis, getting close to cystic fibrosis, you start getting a lot of mucus in your lungs. Mucinex is not enough. People with cystic fibrosis, when they wake up in the morning, the very first thing they do is they put a vest on, plug it into the wall, and turn it on. You know those like massagers that sit there and just vibrate and thump really hard on your back? That's what this does around your entire chest. It knocks the crap out of you. Sometimes you wind up getting bruises. Like you can even get bruised ribs, which but
Ouch.
It's knocking the crap loose in your lungs so you can cough it up. So that way you can breathe and keep your lungs alive. You know, because oxygen's a very important part for lung health too.
Right. And the before I met you and learned more about it, the only thing that I knew about cystic fibrosis was that part of the treatment before like the invention of these vests and things like that was that you would actually take the child and lay them across your lap and really like pound on their back to get everything to loosen up so they could get it out of their lungs.
Daily.
Yes, every day, sometimes multiple times a day.
Yeah, the more advanced they get, the more you'd have to do it.
Wow.
It's a losing battle. But, I mean, it's your kid. You're going to go through that battle.
Right.
And, I mean, honestly, if you have it yourself, you're probably going to want to go through that battle. But, yeah, no, it's crazy with the kind of stuff that you have to go through. And, I mean, this is just... There's a lot of really terrible diseases. There really, really are. This one is particularly nasty.
I mean, this is basically like you overproduce so much mucus and it's basically like your body is drowning itself. That's horrible. Horrible thought.
Yep, while you're desalinating.
Ugh.
So, yeah, that's one thing, though, is that even with all the treatment, he's going to have to add extra salt to his food. So it's like, if you go to McDonald's, get the fries.
Yeah.
Upgrade to
extra
large. Yeah.
Right. May says 5 Feet Away was a really great movie. It taught me a lot about CF. And Floating Duck says sounds like my sister-in-law with lung cancer, draining the lungs every 4 to 6 hours.
Oof. Yeah.
Ugh.
Oh, yeah, and that's another thing, too, about CF. They can't have support groups. They cannot. They can't be around each other. They can't. Because each one of them, in the back of their throat, they will develop a type of bacteria that they themselves will be immune to. But not other CF patients. It's lethal. So when we go into the office, you know, he goes into a room, the doctor has to completely de-gown, scrub, gown up again in fresh gowns, going between patients. Take some time. When you leave the room, they have to completely sanitize the room. Because you can't have it where another patient walks in and, they just contracted that bacteria. It's like the only support groups you can have are virtual. You know, you have to...
Virtual would be better than nothing at all, but...
Right, and you have to also, like, be aware of, like, your surroundings. Like, if you're going to take a flight somewhere, you better hope no one else with CF is near you. Yeah, it's terrifying. Again, the medications and all that's helping a lot, but still, you know, there's still a long ways to go. And for those that may not know, this is specific to Caucasians. And this is how my wife found out that she's not 100% Mexican. Because she has the gene. And she's like, wait a minute, this is a Caucasian thing. How do I have the gene? They're like, oh yeah, don't you know that your grandmother, blah, blah, blah. White? No, I didn't know this. And I was sitting there going, yeah, you know what? That makes sense. Because I was wondering where that gene came from. Because it sure as hell wasn't me. I got the protein.
You guys are just telling me this now.
Right. Yeah, so, anyway, back to the Monster Truck thing. So Greg was playing with his Monster Truck toys. We've been watching Monster Truck videos like Monster Jam. His favorite is Megalodon. If you guys haven't seen Megalodon, it is amazing. It really does look like a gigantic shark with wheels.
I saw the picture of that, and I swear all I could think in my head was shark truck.
And meanwhile, I'm going, monster shark doot 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 doot, monster shark doot.
Okay.
My favorite is Gravedigger, but I got to meet Dennis Anderson, who was the inaugural inductee into the Monster Jam Hall of Fame. I got to meet a number of Gravedigger drivers, and like I originally was a Bigfoot fan because I mean that was the original monster truck. And then I saw Gravedigger, and I was like, oh, that's amazing. Then I got to watch it, and I was like, yeah, that's amazing. And that is still my favorite. And now my daughter, she was like, my favorite's Daddy's. I'm like, really? Because there's Monster Butt Dalmatian, driven by a woman. There's Wonder Woman. There's Wildflower. There's quite a few female drivers. And the youngest one of them all, the youngest female driver is the driver of Wildflower. She started driving at the age of 14.
Oh my god.
She was maneuvering.
Wow.
She was maneuvering monster trucks around in the pits at age 11.
Oh my god.
Yeah, she's been.
That is some skill.
Yeah, she's 20 years old or 21 years old now. So that means she's been competing for 6-7 years. She's won the championship once too. She's really good. Her dad is a monster truck person, and he was into monster trucks before she was born. So she was literally raised around monster trucks. And you look at, she showed pictures of her as a toddler. She's like, I don't ever remember not being around cars. She's like in a NASCAR walker thing, as a kid. She's like, at the age of 9, I was already holding flashlights. It's like 7, I was holding flashlights. At 9, I was already working on tools within the monster trucks. She's like, yeah, I built my monster truck with my dad. It's like, we go out every weekend to compete. And it's like, he's my best friend, and I can't think of a better life. And I was like, man, and the amount of money that you make in monster trucks, if you're good, I don't blame you. I would love to drive a monster truck. Holy crap.
Okay. We have Devern says, I remember asking this before, but how in the hell do you know if you're coming up on someone with cystic fibrosis when you have it? Like, how do you know? How in the hell? And May said, people with cystic fibrosis aren't roaming around. They're not a danger to someone without it. But, I mean, if two people happen to stumble across each other and have it, I mean, that would be a bad thing.
I haven't actually asked that question yet because it hasn't really been a concern yet. And I don't want to worry about things that I don't need to worry about right now. Because there's other things I need to worry about right now.
Right.
But something tells me it's one of those, when you have it, you know. It takes one to know one. Kind of like when we had Sean on in season 1 with that antisocial personality disorder.
Personality disorder.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you just spot another person and you immediately know that they have it. And I'm thinking that's probably about the same with CF. I can't imagine that you look the healthiest in the world when you've been suffering with it for a while. But yeah, I mean, that's a great question. That is something that we will have to bring up. Because, yeah, it will be a concern eventually. Maybe. Maybe they'll find a way to finally go, hey, that bacteria that can kill each and every one of you get together? Yeah, we found a cure for that. That would be
a good
amazing.
day.
Yeah.
Because we also have...
They can have,
when you were...
They can have CF not quite anonymous.
Right? Oh, when you were talking about how it's basically a Caucasian disease,
Yeah.
Floating duck says, I think sickle cell is strictly black disease. It's weird how these diseases can discriminate.
Yeah, well, it's because they're genetic. That's why.
Yeah.
Actually, it's kind of sad and ironic and funny, all whole weird mixed ball, is that one of the guys I work with, they found out that their daughter has sickle cell not too long ago. So he's been just like he's been my at-work support. Been a rock to help me out. And this whole company, like, everybody's kind of circled around me over this. And I'm like, I'm not used to it because I'm usually the one giving support. I'm not used to being supported. It's nice.
Right.
It's really nice.
Right. I'm glad you're getting that support.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's also May has a good comment. Someone with cystic fibrosis isn't worried about only people with cystic fibrosis. They're also worried about people with cold symptoms.
Yup.
Any kind of respiratory illness would be devastating.
Oh yeah. If you have any kind of respiratory illness and you have CF and you get it, it's going to put you out of commission for a long time, and it could become seriously life threatening, no matter how mild it is for everybody else. Your body's already fighting for respiratory issues.
I remember having many conversations with you about your son because when he was, little baby, and you're like, oh, he's got, we're keeping a good eye on him because he's caught the cold or he's got a flu or, and I've got to watch the lungs and
yeah, and it already with him they linger a little bit longer for him, which actually it lingers for me too. Always has. Like everybody's like, oh, I got a cold. I was over it in a week. I'm like, a month later, I'm still having very mild, annoying as hell issues. Like my nose is still plugged, and I still coughing up crap every morning. And I don't smoke, so I know it's not that. But it's always been that way. Colds have always lingered with me, and I'm wondering if it might be that protein thing that I have. It's a Tri-Delta T is the name of it. Is the exact protein. Yeah. So yeah, he's already having some lingering effects with colds, but you wouldn't know it. The kid, he could have snot just running down from his nose all the way down onto his shirt, and the shirt could be sticking to his chest. He's still going to be outside running without a jacket, and it's like 40, 30 degrees outside. He does not care. He is just out there having fun. It's like, oh, I'm barefoot and wearing pajamas, and it's like 32 degrees. I'm good! Runs.
Just having the time of his life.
Yeah, but, first thing in the morning, though, it could be like 50 degrees outside, which, that's pretty nice, Yeah, no, he's freezing his butt off. I'm like, you poor thin blood kid. Yeah, so... Any other comments or questions? I don't really know what else to say, because, that's just kind of where we are. We're in a holding pattern. We're just keeping a close eye on things.
May says, you need a thunder vest. I'm a smoker, and I want one too. Or we can be thunder vest buddies.
Thunder vest buddies.
Yeah, but if the thunder vest is anything like the thunder shirts for like pets, not the same thing. Those things would be amazing for people that have like autism, because like that pressure really helps.
Right, like having a weighted blanket.
Yep.
Oh, I have one of those.
I'm sorry, even without autism, those weighted blankets, they're amazing.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Like if I had the choice between a thick, fluffy comforter or a thin weighted blanket, I'll take the weighted blanket every time.
I have recently seen that they are making weighted stuffed animals that you can wrap them around your neck and they can like lay on your chest and put the pressure. They're like 5-pound stuffed animals. And they're awesome. Soft and plushy.
Now, you know what's going to happen is that there's going to be some sicko out there that's going to be like, you know what? I'm going to put someone in a position where they can't get them off of their neck, and I'm going to put like 50 of them on.
Yeah. Javern says, this autismish boy don't need no blanket of weight, LOL.
Well, that particular one, Devern probably wants the blanket of female body more than anything.
And May says, I sleep with a 20-pound blanket. I sleep with every night.
I sleep
Sorry, see, I didn't mean to cut you off.
It's okay. I was going to say the same thing.
I sleep with, at least I try to, and he's been cooperating more and more. I sleep with the Ryuk on my chest.
Aw, the kitty.
Yeah, I'm not a cat person. I'm just going to throw that out there now. I mean, I'll have fun with cats. I could play with cats, and I'll pet them, and I'm nice to them. I always have been. But when it comes down to pet choices, I'd rather have dogs than cats. Ryuk is actually a slice of my soul. This cat is part of me. I even
it's
with
the Shinigami in him.
No kidding. Or maybe it's the fact that I have no soul and I'm safe around him.
I don't know. I just love the fact that when you got him and you were thinking of names and you're like, I want something, something different, and I was like, name him Ryuk.
Yep, and it's like immediately it's like that's the name. At first, we had adopted a cat temporarily. It was a Flame Point Siamese, which was named Edison. So I was like, okay, I'm naming my cat Tesla. But we wound up not keeping Edison because Edison was a replacement for my wife's previous cat. The previous cat was a regular Lynx Point Siamese, and Edison, even though was red in color, red and white instead of gray and white, looked too much like the previous cat to where she couldn't bond with him. It's like she would be repulsed by him. She immediately liked him, but then, after a while, it's just like, you're not my cat. It was that whole resentment started settling in. So I got rid of him, and then it was like, okay, now we have Ryuk. And eventually she wanted her own cat, and now we have Rocco, an orange tabby. And he is best friends with our beagle puppy.
Aww.
We get the beagle for my older lab, and we get, we got Rocco for Ryuk, because Ryuk gets along great with other cats. I mean, at first he doesn't, but he warms up pretty quickly. And then Rocco, he just gets along with everybody and everything. And the puppy and him, they wrestle probably a good 15 minutes a day, every day, sometimes an hour a day. Where he's barking at the cat's sitting stark upright, ears perked up, tail slightly wagging, fur's all down, no hissing, no showing teeth, nothing like that. And then when Buster comes up to play, Rocco puts the paw around the neck and then does the wrap around and grabs him, and Buster will grab him by the neck and drag him a little bit, just like a mother animal will do.
We'll grab their scruff.
Yeah, we'll grab the scruff. It's funny. There's been a couple times where he's put the entire cat's head in his mouth, but he doesn't bite down. It's funny. I've recorded them playing a couple times. It's amazing. I've always wanted to see that dynamic in person, and now I got it. It's pretty amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And
my cat loves... Oh, go on.
Oh, go for it.
My cat loves to mess with my dog. My dog's like a medium-sized one, and he's much smaller than him, obviously. He tries to tackle him, grab him around his neck, you're and he tries to take him down, but he can't. And then he just kind of tries to leave him alone or hits him in the face with his paw. But
that's funny. I used to have a calico that I named Skittles. She had a black Phantom of the Opera mask on one side of her face. She was so amazing, and she was a dog in a cat's body. I was with this lady for a while, and she's like, "Well, let's get cats together." I was like, "Fine, whatever." I was like, "I don't plan on being with you for very long, but whatever." And I was like, well, let's get a calico. And I got this calico. And this cat, I would walk in, I'd be all, Skittles! The cat would come running up and jump up and leap up into my arms.
Aww.
Aww.
my hands and my forearms were like always scratched up because wrestling. Also, this cat loved me throwing him in the air to land on the bed. More flips and twists, the more he liked it. And I had this big-ass 27-inch CRT monitor for my computer. You know, back when we had the two monitors. And the thing was really warm, and the cat would lay on top of the monitor and play with the mouse cursor when I'd play World of Warcraft. That was what made me fall in love with the cat. And then after that, it's like, you know, the leap up in my arms, the flipping and stuff. I miss that cat so much. But I wound up going homeless and had to get rid of the cat.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, I was like, I'm never going to find another good cat again, and then I got rebuked.
Devern says, cats are awesome. And May says, scientists have found that a cat purring on your chest is them trying to heal you with the vibration.
I've read about that, too. That's amazing.
Cat says.
And also, that frequency actually does help promote healing, which is even more amazing.
And Cat says, for the first time in over 30 years, I'm a catless cat.
Aww. I'll send you my wife.
She said the last one was 22 plus years old.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
That's a long life for a kitty.
Oh, yeah.
And with me, just like all dogs, I will scream puppy at them because puppy. All cats are kitty.
Yep.
They're always kitty. Kitty!
One of my friends, their pit bull had puppies. It had like a litter of like 12. It was a big litter of puppies.
Oh my god.
And I saw a video where it shows the mom trotting off, and all of a sudden all these puppies are jumping up onto the it's like the little one stair lift to go between rooms, and then running along this linoleum, scratching and sliding everywhere. And I'm like, oh my god, bloodthirsty killers! Everybody run! Now that everybody's gone, I get all the puppy breath. I love it, the puppy breath.
I can't believe my dogs are as old as they are. I have an almost 2-year-old dog, a 3 almost 4-year-old, and a 13 almost 14-year-old dog.
Wow.
And it's like, I'm going to be really, really, really upset the day that Miss Cuppy Puppy goes, because I can see the old age getting to her. Her eyes are cloudy. She doesn't have any teeth. You know, she wants to sleep more than she wants to play anymore.
Aww. So I'm just glancing at our statistics right now. Interestingly enough, the 14th of April was actually a really popular day. For no apparent reason.
Okay.
Our April's Fool Day episode was one of our most popular ones. Like, seriously, we had no guests. We were telling jokes. We had 37 downloads and 6 live plays on that episode. I mean,
Wow.
holy crap. And whoever it is, or whoever you are over in Auckland, New Zealand, I know it's like 1 p.m. your time. I know that you're listening. We keep seeing you. Geolocation. You guys actually took number 1. Currently, right now, the number 1 city for listening is Auckland, New Zealand. 15.48% of all listens happen in Auckland, New Zealand. Y'all need to get on the show. We need to talk.
Heck yeah.
And I know it's afternoon for you guys. Let's do this. And I know it's Friday afternoon right now for you guys. Let's do this.
Get yourself a Spreaker account. Get in the chat room.
Yeah, contact us. Go ahead and reach out to me, amimental.net.
May just said, Bexy, give them the bacon. Yes, they actually did get bacon this evening.
Bacon.
Well, I had a BLT salad for dinner, so of course my pups got some of that too.
Nice.
Uh-uh.
Tied for 3rd place right now for listenings, Lancaster, United Kingdom. The city I'm sitting in right now is tied for 3rd place. Statesville, North Carolina is in 2nd place. I don't know where that came from. Yeah, so we have 2 international cities that are taking up there quite a bit. And like when I say that Auckland, New Zealand is at 15.48% of our listenership, that represents all of New Zealand's listenership is that one city. Whoever you are, come on, reach out to us. The UK is in 3rd, India's in 4th, Canada's in 5th, Ireland is in 6th, Norway's in 7th, Thailand's and Australia are also tied with Norway for 7th. And that's just over the last 30 days.
Oh.
Javern says, "What are you guys? Some American indie band? You're popular where they usually are." LOL.
I can tell you that I think that the Lancaster, UK, just in the last 7 days was 20% of the listenership. That was probably the person that was going to be on tonight. But yeah, hey, you know what? I get it. It's when you were dealing with the international dateline change and large number of hours changing. It's like we start communicating by going, okay, it's like, I am now minus 7 hours Greenwich Mean Time. What are you? That's how you have to communicate, and mistakes happen. Fortunately, now what I do now is actually I added London to my clock on my phone, so I could just go to world clock and go, yeah, it is currently 2:56 a.m. Yeah, that's Auckland. It is 1:57 p.m. It just changed to 1:57. And yeah, you're plus 19 hours. We know that you're awake. But I mean, at the same time, if you're working, yeah, it might be a problem.
Right.
You have the podcast flu. It's a 24-hour flu. Might as well just throw it out there. If you guys want to help us grow, share our episodes. MImental.net has all... I have to update the latest season into it, I think. It has most of the episodes in there, but it has also contact links to everywhere else that you... to a lot, maybe not everywhere else, but to a lot of places like YouTube and Spreaker and a couple others where you can find us. So yeah, use your favorite app to share it. Like us, follow us, give us a heart, give us a thumbs up, whatever your app happens to have. That always helps out. And if you want to buy some swag or donate, mimental.net/donate. There's a number of ways you can go ahead and do it. I'm about to take down Patreon. We still don't have any Patreons. And
Hello?
Hello?
Oh,
There you are.
I can hear you now.
So yeah, you cut out for a second.
Oh, I just got your internet connection is unstable. Huh.
Oh no.
Oh no!
I know. Wait,
Oh
sorry.
Oh no.
I'm just thinking of the guy, with the mustache on Family Guy.
Yes.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Oh no. He does it. Oh no.
Right?
I don't know.
But yeah,
Kat says, "Oh, my shopping bags arrived."
I knew it was you.
Yay.
Yeah, we got our tote bag. They're great. I got a die-cut sticker for my almost no longer teenage daughter. She loves it. She put it up on her sticker board. She said only worthy stickers are allowed to go there, so I sent her a picture. She's like, yeah, that one's worthy. I was like, it's my podcast and I'm your father. It better be worthy, god damn it. But no, I wouldn't. If she's like, no, that sticker's crap, I'm like, okay, you design one and we'll sell that.
Kat says, "Unstable on a mental health podcast," with a bunch of laughing kitty cat emojis.
Yeah, that sounds about right. So, Kat, how do you like the tote bag? Come on, give us a review. Oh, I need to fix my episodes things. I called this episode.
May says, "I bought a shirt that I need to edit to walk around in. It was too big, but I'm gonna rock it."
Nice. I really want to get that wraparound shirt. Have you seen it, C?
Yeah, that was.
No, I have not.
Ooh, let me throw it in the chat here. Oops. Back up. And my mental Teespring. Yay!
That said, I got 2 of them. They are nice. Have a little snap pocket inside too.
Wait, these are our shirts? They have a snap pocket? Whoa, which one?
Not the. I think they're talking about the shopping bags.
Ah, yeah, it does have that little snap pocket inside the bag. That's amazing. These bags, I did not expect that little extra snap pocket. So, like, change, keys, something that you don't want falling to the bottom of the bag and you have to go rummaging through.
Yeah.
So this is the shirt that I want. Unfortunately, there is no such thing, even with my ability to get it at cost. It's an expensive damn shirt. But it's amazing. Are you in the chat? See?
Yes, I am.
I'm throwing it into
I'm
the
lurking.
You're lurking? I'm throwing it in the chat.
Hold on.
I just wish that it actually also had the pattern on the sleeve.
Yeah.
But if you look at the collar of it, you can see that it has like a two-tone thing going on. So you know that's going to be a nice, heavy-duty, durable freaking shirt. And lots of different colors. I think I allowed pretty much every color that didn't completely obliterate the logo. Like, hey, let's go ahead and use a black shirt with a black logo, because that will work great.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I really like that shirt. So, how about you guys? Do you have any updates that you want to share? Now's a good time.
Well, I don't think I've ever. No, I've never told you guys about my niece. She has a very rare. She has a rare form of epilepsy called Lennox-Gastaut syndrome. Pretty sure that's how you say it. Her seizures have been getting pretty bad. She's been blanking out more. She goes into a daze. You know, you can ask her name. I'll call her H. Be like, "Hey, H, are you okay?" And she won't respond. And she'll just kind of stare.
Oh.
She goes completely blank, and they drain her of her energy. So right after, she usually goes to bed. But it's been getting bad. They've been getting more intense, and they've gone on so many. They only have a couple medications for her epilepsy, and they've used quite a bit of them, and they're still on her medication. And they got her surgery to try to stop the intensity of the seizures. Like, it'll send out a shock when it feels that a seizure is coming on. But even that alone isn't helping, so they got to keep her on the medication. They tried lowering the dose, and she had a seizure that lasted for about 2 minutes.
Ooh.
She wouldn't respond at all. She went to the floor. My mom was about ready to call an ambulance, and she had one with me as well. She was just kind of sitting on the couch, and she started showing the signs. And she has a little magnet to wave on the device to try to get it to stop, but it wasn't working. So I went to go get her dad, and we just kind of had to sit there for a bit until she just fell asleep. She kind of has the mental age of like a 6-year-old. So my sister wants to get her reevaluated to see if she's kind of, aged up a little bit. She's 9, but mentally she is 6. But yeah, her seizures have not been good. They've been getting real bad, and her behavior has been getting real bad.
Yeah, I'm reading about it right now.
She's a little klepto.
Yeah. Well, they're saying that LGS, which they call it for short, belongs to a group of disorders called epileptic encephalopathies, which lead to progressive cognitive impairment, developmental delays, and behavioral problems. Approximately 91% of people with LGS develop intellectual disabilities. Most children experience developmental or intellectual problems before LGS is diagnosed. And they said about 3 to 4% of children with epilepsy develop LGS. So you can start without it and get it. Usually begins between ages 2 and 5. It occurs more frequently in males, and seizures can continue into adolescence and adulthood. Most commonly, this occurs due to trauma. But obviously this one's not trauma, it sounds like.
Right. It wasn't. We didn't really know why exactly it started. At first, we just kind of thought because of the behavioral issues, oh, maybe she's just kind of acting up, because it was around the time her baby sister was... Oh.
Yeah, go brush your teeth.
It was when her baby sister came home, and that's when she started really acting up. And so that's what we figured it was until... It's okay!
Got an apology.
It was. Yeah. Until they had to check her out, and when she started having her seizures, that's when we really found out. And again, her behaviors, it's not really good. She will throw a fit if she doesn't get her way. Something that I find funny is when she gets in trouble, let's say, I don't know, she stole something, she'll be like, "But I'm hungry." It's like, okay.
What?
Okay, you're hungry, but that's not the topic at all. But
let's just be glad that you don't have pica as well.
Oh, thank goodness.
Seriously. She's very picky about her eating too. That's something that is something that we got to work on with her. But she'll get very obsessed with certain things. Like right now, it's sausages for some reason. She won't stop eating them. It's all she'll want. And usually she won't eat anything. So it's good if she eats something.
Right.
But it's the only thing she really eats. And it's like, kid, you can't eat all of them. You ate like 5 already. You got to save some.
So now it's time to go get that big ass kielbasa and just cut off a segment. Here you go. Go gnaw on this for a while.
Yeah.
Of course, if you hand me a kielbasa, I will go ahead and take it uncooked as is because it's pre-cooked, and I'll go gnaw on it in the corner. I love kielbasa.
It's like, buy the child a summer sausage. Here you go.
I'm not a big fan of it. The skin's so tough. No, just don't eat the skin.
Or like hot chips too. One time, my sister bought a box for my brother-in-law, and they found 8 bags of empty hot chips in her pillowcase.
Oh,
oh wow.
Yeah. They're completely banned from the house now, so...
I see.
But
with my son, he was a little klepto. He wasn't a klepto. He was sneaky, and he always got up late at night and went and raided my ex-wife's candy stashes. Mm-hmm. And I'm convinced now, after everybody I've ever been with, whether it was just dating or married to, they always have a candy stash. I think that's just something that women do. I'm really convinced of it at this point. But he kept sneaking it, even when he would get busted for it. So we wound up putting unsweetened baker's chocolate in all the hiding places. Yeah,
oh.
If I was thinking, what I would do to him if he was sneaking and stuffing his bag with hot chips. All right, let's go find some Carolina Reaper chips or ghost pepper chips. Yeah.
Oh my
They'll
goodness.
learn after that.
Yep.
I actually had to use, not having kids, but I did have to actually, to stop my dogs from chewing on cable wires and things that were close to the floor, I actually had to coat them in hot sauce.
Yep. And some people are like, that's cruel. It's like, well, they're
They
choosing to
learn.
do it. I'm not forcing them.
Right. It was a one-time thing. They learned real freaking quick.
So, interesting thing. I was just reading the key takeaways for Lennox-Gastaut syndrome. Of children with epilepsy, 3 to 4% have it. LGS is resistant to most anti-epileptic medications and difficult to treat. However, CBD does help control seizures in children with LGS. They call it Epidiolex, but it's cannabidiol, which is just CBD oil, basically. Just in a metered, measured.
You're cutting out a little.
Again?
I got you perfectly fine. So
Okay. Basically,
It's on my end.
they found that CBD, the cannabis oil, really helps with kids that have LGS. And I'm like, Randy, if they also have behavioral problems, give them some
just looked
CBD.
into it quite a few times.
That's what they're going. I heard it gives you a body high without the
Might
mental high. I kind of want to try it.
it's very calming.
Yeah, I could use that.
It is very calming. There is no high from it. There is no THC in it. So
Well, all I got to say is that I am the most hyperactive fat man you'll ever meet.
you are hardly fat.
Hardly fat? Are you kidding me?
You have dad bod. You're not fat.
Oh, whatever. Look at this. Look at this. I look
Honey,
pregnant. I know.
Are you kidding me?
Hey, are you trying?
My behind puts the ass in massive. All right, so let's not even go there.
Are you trying to say that my being overweight is insignificant, kind of like with mental health? Do I need to go there?
I'm not trying to cancel you. Damn it!
I'm just giving you a hard time.
I know.
I think C just got frozen for a minute there.
I'm just saying that, all people are beautiful in their own way. So,
I'm here.
Yeah, I think that C is delayed. 4.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, there's about a 5.
Has a delay.
Yeah, there's a 5-second delay. You're catching up, I think.
Okay, so in the chat, when you started talking about your niece, we do have some comments. Kat said, ouch, that's awful. May said, seeing a seizure in someone you love is terrible. I'm so sorry, C. Then she said, correction, seeing a seizure in anyone is hard, but it can be especially hard in someone you love. And Devern said, yeah, my cousin's 14-year-old daughter is basically 6 years old, too. Because of epilepsy, it pretty much ruins you.
Oh, yeah, and... one thing we try to keep in mind is their future, or her future, because she won't be able to drive a car. She'll probably have to be on disability. I'm just kind of hoping that she'll be all right, and I hope that whose cousin was it?
Devern's cousin.
Devern. I hope your cousin was all right, because epilepsy can be of a bitch, and like you said, or like who was it? Cat? I'm sorry, I have such a terrible memory.
It's okay.
It can be very. Oh, May. It can be very scary seeing a seizure, especially when you don't know if it's going to be an intense one.
Oh, definitely. As someone who worked in a nursing home, I have seen all sorts of different types of seizures, and they're always scary.
My best friend through junior high and the beginning of high school, he was epileptic, and I witnessed him have 2 seizures 1 year apart, and one of them was the grand mal fall shaking and quivering. And It was both times. It was after lunch. The first one was we had just finished lunch recess, and we raced to the classroom we had to go into, and he was just walking towards his desk, and he just boom. The last thing he remembers was actually playing handball, and that thinking, wow, it was getting close to going back to the class. And the second one, we had just finished eating lunch and was racing to the handball courts. And I beat him, and usually it's a pretty close race, but I was like, wow, I really freaking dusted him. And I look back at him, and he's like standing, staring up at the sky at something. And I'm like, okay, I look up. I don't see anything. Look back at him and just watch him just poof onto his back. Just seized up, just tense. It was terrifying. He's on Dilantin. It works. He's allowed to drive. He has a normal life. He's one of the gentlest souls that you'll ever meet. I don't know if he was developmentally delayed. But I mean, he's, and I don't mean, if you're listening, when I say that you're kind of a simple man, I do mean it like in the best possible way. Life is pretty simple. You make me actually envious because you have a great life, and like the small things are like make you so freaking happy. And I'm so glad that we were able to bury the hatchet, because we wound up like freaking hating each other and never could figure out why. And then we met at our 20-year high school reunion, and we buried the hatchet, and we've been talking friends ever since. I love the guy.
Oh, that's good.
And then one of my current best friends is also epileptic. So I'm like, and this dude's one of the smartest dudes I know. But yeah, and it's just, epilepsy it's scary. It really is.
Very.
Seizures are terrifying.
Oh, yeah. I think the worst part is any bit of stimulation can cause one. If she gets too excited, she'll have a seizure. If she gets too nervous, she'll have a seizure. If she gets, I don't know, let's say we're going on a walk. If she gets too happy about that, she'll have a seizure. It's terrible because it's like, God damn, you can't even go out and go to the park without having a seizure and being completely drained.
There goes Disneyland.
Yeah.
Right.
There goes meeting your favorite princess.
Not to mention, I'm sure if she gets too sick and a fever gets too high, it can trigger a seizure.
Yeah.
Or if, she's her body is just, stressed out from illness, it could trigger one. I know that happened a lot with Adam when he was younger. He would spike insanely high fevers and go into a seizure. Thankfully, he hasn't had a seizure in years. He outgrew it.
That's good.
That's awesome.
Good.
Hey, it's nice getting to know C a little bit better.
Yeah.
Okay, for everybody out there, just in case you're wondering,
other than that,
C is adorable. Okay, just saying that. She is absolutely adorable.
Oh my God, yes. Like, I would adopt her in a heartbeat.
I'd fight you to adopt her.
Thank you.
Okay, we're just going to have to be an alternative family and share custody, damn it.
I don't share.
I have to go in between you both.
Fine. Then I'm getting her and we're moving to California.
Okay, I'm good with
Make
that.
room.
Well, I know what city she lives in, but I'm not gonna share it. Yes. So, I didn't announce it to everybody. Yeah, I got blocked again. 30 days in Facebook jail. For a post or a comment that went against community standards, but they never bothered to let me know what it was, so I could at least look at it and maybe contest it, because I've been actually trying to behave this time. I beat them in February. They went and they were like, you, blah, 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 you posted something against our standards. And I went, I've seen a million people say this. And like, oh, you're right, we made a mistake. This time, I don't even get the option. I think it's because I beat them. They're not even going to give me a chance again. Jerks.
They're just like, nope, shut you down. How dare you speak your mind?
They don't even tell you which one you did wrong either. So it's like, well, I can't even fix what you guys are condemning me for.
Yeah. I mean, that's been Twitter's biggest issue. Like, oh, you're in timeout. Why? Hello? Why?
Just because.
Yeah. How am I supposed to learn?
Chat. We have Cat in the chat. What did you do?
Like,
no.
Like, seriously, if I knew, then I could either be like, oh, this is BS, or like, well, okay, I deserved it. I'll admit when I'm like, yeah, I deserved it. Like, honestly, the one that I beat them on, yeah, I probably should have been on timeout. Not gonna lie, I probably should have gotten the 30 days. I went back and I deleted it. I'm like, yep, that's gone. I don't need someone else reporting it and them going, no.
Oh.
I mean, I could tell you every reason that I got banned from Twitter. I've never had my account deleted on Facebook. But man, I mean, you really have to screw up on Twitter, and well, not anymore. Now they just pretty much just delete anybody.
Yeah, don't tell someone they went potato.
Yep. Yep, that was one of them.
I remember that. I had a hashtag in my in my Twitter thing for a long time. It said, "Let my Eric go."
Yep.
Oh, crap! I did it.
Name drop.
I've been doing so good.
And now you're not. You've gone 0 episodes now without a name drop. But yeah, no, someone said something and I called them a potato. And I got it. Yeah. I deserved it. But none of the bans was more deserved than the one that I got banned from Chelsea Handler.
Oh my god, that was... Oh,
I'm not even going to say it on the air because it was so bad.
It was horrible, but so true.
Yeah, I was going to say, but it's accurate.
It was apt, damn it, apt.
Yeah, she blocked. Then I came back with a different account and she blocked me because I kept calling her Piss for Brains. Well, she laughed when some guy, it was Jason Biggs, was pissing on her face and she was laughing about it. I was like, yeah, she's got to have Piss for Brains now. I was surprised I didn't get banned for that. Probably because there's video evidence. No, that account I got banned because I said, yeah, I can't say it. It's too political. And I don't want to do the politics on here too much. Again, I don't mind getting political on this podcast if we're talking about, both sides. Like, everybody's in the wrong. Like, clearly in the wrong. Like, the war on opioids, clearly in the wrong. Absolutely. The war on drugs, clearly in the wrong. And then I saw those people go, but, I mean... Shouldn't we at least have some of them banned? It's like, look, either you ban them all or you ban none. You can't have certain degrees because someone's going to disagree somewhere. It's like, yeah.
Either it's all okay or none of it's okay.
It's like, yeah, fentanyl is horrid. I don't mind trying to keep it from coming onto our shores and coming into our country. It's horrid. But treat the people that are addicted to it. Don't jail them. Please. It's like, and I'm not big on taxes, but I would rather see the money that's going on the war on drugs going into rehab and education. At least then I'd be like, well, I don't really like paying these taxes, but at least it's going for a really good cause. I've known too many people that have had addiction problems and couldn't get help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We defund the DEA and put that money into rehabilitation and education. I bet we'd see a hell of a change. And we'd see a lot less people going to jail for stupid possession charges.
Very true. Kat says, what's wrong with potatoes? I'm confused.
Well, there's a euphemistic use of potato that for a while there was used in lieu of another word that was really derogatory.
Think, what was it? What was that movie with Robert Downey Jr. in it? And
Tropical Thunder.
Yes, that.
You went full potato. Never go full
Never
potato.
go full potato.
See, have you seen that movie? Or at least the meme. You have to have seen the meme.
Which meme?
It looks Robert Downey Jr. looks like a black guy.
Okay.
And he's like, you just went full, never go full.
I don't think I have seen that meme, actually.
We're gonna have to fix that.
Surprising. The meme economy is weird.
Yeah, another one that he was really... it was one of the lines that they actually put on the commercial, too. Is I'm a dude playing a dude who's playing another dude. And it's Robert Downey Jr., and I mean, yes, technically it's blackface that he was in, that he looked African-American, but I mean, he did such a great job. Yep, and Bexy just sent it to... It's hard to believe that that's Robert Downey Jr. Like, you look at it, it's like, that actually is Robert Downey Jr. It does not look like him. Yeah, so that's how I got in trouble. Although when I was pleading my case, I was just like, I was just saying, like, other vegetables. It was an innocent mistake. I didn't realize. Yeah, I knew. I knew exactly what I was saying. I'm very careful with my words on making sure I know what I'm saying. I very rarely put my foot in my mouth without knowing full well I'm doing it. I've accidentally pissed off some friends and didn't realize that what I said meant more than what I thought it said. But I usually try to be accurate. So yeah, when I called them a potato, yeah, I knew what I was saying. Although I have pled my way out of trouble by going, I didn't know. Did I happen to share my spot mopping story on the air?
I do not think so. I know I have heard the spot mopping story, but...
Have you heard the spot mopping story, C?
I don't think I have.
It was...
Please tell me.
It was me being maliciously compliant. I was following the letter of what I was being told, not the spirit. So I was working at a particular drugstore that was known for their ice cream. Should be enough of a hint. And that was my job. I scooped ice cream. Plus, I also did some stockroom work. I helped to maintain the stock on the shelves. The only checking out that I did was at the register for the ice cream. I wasn't allowed to do any other checkout because I was too young to sell tobacco or alcohol. I was 18. I could have done tobacco, but I was 17 going on 18, so I couldn't do tobacco. Anyway,
All right.
the funny thing about this company was there was me. At the time, there was another ice cream scooper, and we worked 7 days on, 7 days off. That way, it was a summer job. I'd have money, and I could go out and play. Other than us two, there were two full-time checkers, and everybody else was an assistant manager, except for the actual manager. There were a lot of assistant managers. It was the thing that there was no turnover. They were there long enough that they had to get something. So, hey, you're an assistant manager. It's like, holy crap. We're now just a company of assistant managers with, like, 2 full-time employees and 2 part-time employees. And there's, like, 7 assistant managers. Anyway, the assistant managers knew I was smart. The manager could not accept the fact that, because I scooped ice cream, that I couldn't possibly be smart. I was just a high school kid that served ice cream and worked in the stockroom. So, eventually I got sick of trying to get her to realize I'm actually not stupid. So I was like, okay, fine. If I'm stupid, then I'm stupid. Let's go with this. And I took everything to the extreme. Whatever she told me to do, I took to the extreme. So,
his troll came out.
Oh yeah, this was probably some of the best trolling I had ever done in my life. I was asked one time because we had a company that would come in once a month and actually mop the floors. Because it's a drugstore, and we are in the middle of the woods. Yeah, it gets disgusting sometimes. Well, for whatever reason, I think it was that we had some rain earlier in the month. Like, the floors were actually getting pretty gross. and we were still a week away from having the cleaning company come. So I was asked to spot mop, and I was like, I don't understand. What's spot mop? You know, I'm just dumb. I'm an ice cream scooper. I don't know. And she's like, well, you see this? She's like, you see that spot on the floor there? I'm like, yeah. And I put my shoe kind of next to it. That spot right there. She's like, yeah. I measured it up when I did that, by the way. She's like, mop up any spot that big or bigger on the floor. Okay. And he was like, don't worry about the smaller spots. Okay. So at first I swept like I'm supposed to. And then I got about a half hour, 45 minutes of overtime because I went through and meticulously cleaned around the small spots, only getting spots that size or bigger, using my measure up with my shoe to make sure that I only got spots that size or bigger. It was a pain in the ass, but I got extra pay out of it, and I got to be maliciously compliant. So when I go to check out, and her office is like a half story up with like an open top, little like plexiglass windows that were only like half height. Like if I stood up, they'd only come up to like my chest, maybe, if even that. So I go to punch out, and she's like, "Oh, did you get done with the spot mopping?" I'm like, "Yes, I did. Every spot that size or bigger, just like he said." Punch out, and I'm like, "And I'm gone for a week." I come back a week later, and oh yeah, I get talked to by one of these system managers. Man, the manager, I'm not going to use her name, I'll just say T. Oh man, T is pissed at you. I'm like, oh, did she intend for me to actually mop up even the small clusters of spots that are that big or bigger? And not to meticulously clean around the smaller spots? He's like, you did what? Like, I was told to spot mop, and she said that size or bigger. So she came to talk to me about it, and she was all mad at me, and I immediately took the wounded, oh my god, I'm so sorry, I misunderstood, I'm so sorry, I'm a bad person, and it just caused her to just collapse in, and she's like, oh god, I didn't explain it well. Remember, I'm stupid. So she took it upon herself. This is her fault because she didn't explain it clear enough. Yeah, and then after it was all done, I was like, okay, thank you, I understand, I'll try to do better next time. She turns around, walks away, and I'm like, trying not to laugh. I'm like, oh, I'm going to have so much fun at this job. I spent the next, I was there about 14 months. I spent the rest of that time just being maliciously compliant in any way I could find. Oh my god, it was so funny. I had so much fun. One time she asked me to stack all the winter boots in the stockroom and take up as little floor space as possible. I built an inverted pyramid that went to the ceiling. And I had to use the 20-foot ladder to do it. Took a lot of wedging things in to get it to work, and a little bit of using the boxes as scaffolding to get it up to spot and get it in there, and then pull out the other boxes. And again, it was day 7 of my 7 days in a row. What she intended was for it to be about head height for me, which I was 6 feet at the time. I'm 6'1" now, but I was at 6 feet tall. She just wanted a 6-foot stack of boxes, nicely organized so they're all as packed in uniform to take up as little space as possible. That way, and I'm done. As little floor space as possible. Okay. And again, she decided to take the blame on herself.
All I can think about is the episode of Futurama that's one of my favorites. It's called How Hermes Requisitioned His Groove Back. And the head bureaucrat looks at Hermes and he says, Bureaucrat Conrad, you are technically correct. The best kind of correct.
I love that meme. I still need to watch more Futurama. I've been slowly plugging through it.
It's one of my favorite shows. I've seen it so many times. It's unreal. It's a comfort show for me.
I don't have a comfort show. I have comfort movies.
I get that. I have those too.
Yeah, my comfort movies: Deadpool, Deadpool 2, Donnie Darko, Legends of the Fall, Goodfellas. It's kind of a messed up list. Really love Super Troopers. And yes, I think that Hot Fuzz, in its own right, is equally funny. It's a little more clever humor, where Super Troopers is a lot more stupid humor. it's kind of like comparing apples and oranges. Yes, they're both fruit. They both grow on trees. Yes, they're both comedies. They're both movies. But really, you really can't compare them any further than that because they're both funny, but in their own ways. And the cinematography for Hot Fuzz, same with Shaun of the Dead, the cinematography is absolutely out of this world. They have mastered the art of telling a story with very little dialogue, like no dialogue, very few scenes. Like, if you've ever watched Shaun of the Dead, or if you watch Hot Fuzz, it's always about going to the Winchester and having a pint on Shaun of the Dead. Eventually, they don't even have to do the sequence of events, or even briefly. They're just like, here's what I would do. And they'd just be like, one quick scene, maybe two, and then having a pint at the Winchester. So you know exactly what the story was. And Hot Fuzz, all they had to show you was the code pad, the punch pad, to get into the evidence locker. You know what they're doing, because the first time, they walk you through the process. After that, it's just a quick little boop, boop, and then the door opens, and then they show them all geared up, or whatever it is. It's brilliant storytelling, and not enough directors do it. They try to drag you through, they try to slow you through it every single time. It's like, you only really have to do it once, and then just do it briefly the second time. If you have to do it multiple times, just get more and more brief each time, to where just one significant thing pops up, and you're telling the whole story. And you're saving a lot of time, allowing you more time to tell the real story, to progress the story. God damn it, now we're back on movies and TV again. We always seem to go there.
Yeah, I do have a couple of, since we're on movies for a moment, I do have a couple of really good scary movie recommendations, and these are more like, not like outright blood and guts horror kind of thing. It's
like suspense.
Yes,
I love suspense.
The first one, oh my god, I'm having so much brain fog right now, and it just went out of my head. Okay, the first one is Hereditary. It's called,
that one.
Yes, it's called Hereditary. It is a amazing movie. It has Toni Collette in it. She does an amazing job. I do not know why she did not win an award for this performance. It's heart-wrenching. And the story of the movie is amazing. It's directed by a guy named Ari Aster, and he has another movie called Midsommar, Midsommar. And the really creepy thing about this one is everything takes place in daylight.
Whoa, that's a twist.
But it's still creepy as hell and a really good watch.
So, if you like foreign horror films, a great one is House Arrest. I think that's the name of it. It's a New Zealand one. It's a little creepy, a little funny, a little heartfelt, a little mysterious. It's a great ride. It's a little of everything. Hard to advertise, but it's really good. Like, I highly recommend it. It's a great story. It's a great movie. And it's not going to, scare the hell out of you or anything, or keep you so suspense-ridden that you're like, my anxiety's out of 12, my anxiety's out of 12.
Yeah.
And I still say the best horror film I had ever seen up until a specific point was Jeepers Creepers.
That was a creepy movie.
Up until a specific point, and then it went brain dead. Absolutely brain dead.
Yeah.
Have you seen it, C?
I've watched Jeepers Creepers before, but it's been a while.
Yeah. So it's creepy, this mysterious guy, the bodies, the freaking scary ass truck and stuff. And you're like, what the fuck is going on? And then they reveal, and it's like, okay, now it's stupid. And then, well, it only kills when this song is playing, and it's always playing. I'm like, really? Jeepers Creepers is always playing? How popular is that song? Is it in the top 1 million by chance? Because I've maybe heard that song twice in my entire life. Yeah. Although one of the best movies that looks like it's like a poor, like a low budget, really good movie, because the budget was actually pretty high on it. It's just that they did the whole, this is like recovered footage. Cloverfield.
I haven't watched that one, but I heard it's good.
It is really good.
It is really good. And it also ties into that. Fan. It's also tied into that, like, was it like 42 Cloverfield Way or whatever? They're tied like together.
That. Yeah.
Bexy didn't like Cloverfield?
No, I am not. I was going to say, I am not a fan of most, like, found footage type movies or things like that. Cloverfield being the exception.
Nice. Yeah, I'm the same way as, like, Blair Witch Project. That was time I wanted. That was a waste of my life.
Yeah. Yeah, the other movie that I have watched, and I literally, when it ended, I screamed, I want my life back. I want the last 2 hours of my life back. Paranormal Activity.
And that movie wasn't even 2 hours long, and you wanted 2 hours back.
I wanted 2 hours back. It felt like an eternity!
Ooh.
Oh.
May just put a good one out. Great psychological thriller of a series is on Amazon. Tell Me Your Secrets. It's not gory. It's suspense. I have Prime. I might have to check that out.
I do too.
And see, if you don't have Prime, one of us will get you Prime. Don't worry about that.
Yes.
But yeah, no, I saw the ads for Paranormal Activity and I immediately went, I'm not watching this. It's too Blair Witch. It's just way too Blair Witch.
The thing is, I am absolutely fascinated by the paranormal.
Well, same.
I really am. I want and so I was like, okay, I'm gonna give this a shot. Nope, I want my life back. Another movie that I watched and was absolutely just like, why did I watch this? August Rush.
Are you kidding me? I love that movie.
I feel like the entire movie was spent just like running, and I just didn't care for it.
Oh, God, that movie. Well, maybe it's because I'm a musician, and I really wanted to go to Juilliard when I was younger, so.
Possibly. I mean, I didn't think it was a bad movie. It was just one that I won't ever watch again.
That was the movie that I actually picked for my teenager when we used to swap movies. She loved it, too. I think you're just a weirdo.
Well, we know I'm weird. Come on.
And I mean, that was one of Robin Williams' best performances. Man, did he play a greedy asshole like nobody's business. Really, Bexy?
I have, yes, I stand by my choice.
What about Robin Williams' performance in that movie?
Oh. He was amazing. I mean, the actors in the movie were great and everything. I don't know. I felt like the story drug a whole lot, and I couldn't really get into it. So it was like, not for me. I won't watch it again. I watched it, but I won't go back to it.
All right, see, what have you watched that you've liked?
What have I watched that I liked? I remember I used to be a really big fan of the Friday the 13th movies.
Oh, classics.
One of my youngest memories is curling up. The earliest memory was curling on the couch with my niece and closing our sliding glass door so we couldn't hear a lawnmower. And we told each other, okay, if we get scared, we'll just hold each other. And
surprisingly good horror movie. And it's from a Dean Koontz book. I just totally lost the name of it. Oh, Phantoms. That's what
Phantoms is amazing.
That movie was surprisingly good. My son, he was like, I'm going to watch it. He was like 7 years old. He's like, I'm going to watch this scary movie with you guys. And we're like, you're not going to watch this movie. He's like, I'm going to watch this movie. You're like, okay, well, if you really want to, but got to tell you now, like with all scary movies, you need to watch it to the end. Otherwise, if you leave at the scariest parts, you won't be able to get over it.
Right.
He left at the scariest parts. Like, the last, 15 minutes, going to the climax of the movie, and he's like, nope, I'm out of here. He was terrified for a long time.
Do you know what movie traumatized me as a child?
What?
Hellraiser.
That was a good movie.
Oh, it's an excellent movie. And I love Clive Barker. He's a great writer. But yeah, Hellraiser terrified me as a child.
The movie that terrified me as a child, I don't remember being terrified of it, but my parents said they only had to mutter one word. Anyone had to say the one word, and I'd run off screaming. That one word was red rum.
The Shining.
Yep. Apparently I snuck out of bed to watch it, and it scared the living shit out of me for a long time.
Have you seen the sequel?
I haven't seen... the only Shining that I saw was the remake for TV that was a mini-series, which I thought was really good.
That was really good, and that was more in keeping with how Stephen King actually wrote the book.
Well, because Stephen King wrote the freaking screenplay.
Yes, which is why it's called Stephen King's The Shining and not Stanley Kubrick's The Shining. But no, I'm talking about Dr. Sleep.
No.
This is the sequel to The Shining, and Danny is all grown up. You must watch this movie.
Yeah, all I know is that my ex-wife was reading The Shining, and I knew very little of The Shining at the time. I knew it was a scary book. I knew that I was scared of it as a kid. That was all that I knew. And he had a infection, and I had to get him his amoxicillin liquid. And I was all, boy, it's time to take your medicine. The next thing I saw was a white flash as I got a full arm slap across the face by my ex because she had been reading The Shining, and apparently that line usually meant it's time to get your ass beat.
Oh, yes.
It was so reflex. It was just reflex, knee-jerk reaction. And she's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. She made up for it later, but my God, I was like, what the hell did I do?
There's another author of horror novels that I really, really, really enjoy, and that is John Saul.
I've heard of John Saul.
He writes some amazing novels. He's done so many good books. I've read a lot of them. The Right Hand of Evil, The God Project, Perfect Nightmare. He has a serial thriller, how Stephen King did The Green Mile and he released it in a series of little novellas.
Oh yeah, I actually read the original novellas. Now that's just a novel. I like the novellas. That was awesome.
Yeah, he did that with something called The Blackstone Chronicles, and it was amazing. He's just a really, really, really good writer. The first book I ever read by him was called Suffer the Children, and it was it's his debut novel, and it follows the story of a child abductor who murders a young girl 100 years earlier and then returns and begins taking out more children one by one.
Sounds like we need the Winchesters.
Yes. You need the Winchesters for a lot of things in his The God Project is about this little town in Eastbury, Massachusetts, and something causes healthy babies to turn cold in their cribs, and it's taking the children one by one. And now, he has some amazing books.
So,
they give me chills.
So I've read a few Dean Koontz novels. I wanted to read more. Time. So I've read House of Thunder. That was my introduction to Dean Koontz.
Mm-hmm.
Really good.
Oh, yes.
And I've read a couple others, but the two that really stand out for me as the best of what I've read, Night Chills and The Bad Place.
Those are amazing novels.
I've heard From the Corner of His Eye is like one of his best. I haven't. I just haven't read it yet.
It is so good. Also, I highly recommend the Odd Thomas books.
You've told me that too, and I've heard other people recommend it too. So,
and there is another one. I'm trying to.
Well, while you're doing that, see, just so you know, Dean Koontz, if you don't know, his style of writing is things that could maybe possibly happen if the conditions are just right. That's what makes him terrifying. Like Phantoms. What causes that is it's terrifying, and it's a possibility. Night Chills is a possibility. The Bad Place is the one that I think was a little too supernatural. Still great, but it's a little too supernatural. House of Thunder, that could have actually happened, I think. It was that, like, I would not have been surprised had he actually interviewed someone and that actually happened. It was that level of terrifying and that close to, yeah, it could happen.
Wow.
Where, Stephen King, he just writes. He writes everything. Like, there was nothing scary about The Shawshank Redemption.
No.
Great story. Great movie, too. The Green Mile, nothing scary about that. A cool supernatural twist. Like a super cool supernatural twist. He just writes. I don't like a lot of his newer stuff. Like after The Green Mile, it just kind of went, eh. Like I read Bag of Bones, I was like, that's okay. The Girl Who Loves Tom Gordon, that was alright. It was actually it was a pretty good one. But like his older stuff is like, hands down, out of this world, amazing.
Of his newer stuff, Full Dark, No Stars is an amazing collection of stories.
His short story collections are amazing.
And the only set of Stephen King stories to actually have one in it that freaked me the fuck out. And I've read so many Stephen King novels. Well, but there's a story in that one that just had me. I threw the book across the room.
Yeah, that was me. That was me reading The Finger. I went, nope! Nope!
The Dean Koontz book I was talking about is called The Darkest Evening of the Year, and it has to do with a dog and supernatural abilities and stuff like that. And I believe the dog is a golden retriever.
Okay, so it's not a yellow lab. I'm okay. Yeah, good stuff. My dad is a really, really big fan of Robin Cook, who also tends to write about stuff that's like, yeah, this was in the headlines, and let's make a story about it.
Oh my God. I read, I think it was maybe Contagion or something by Robin Cook about tainted beef and stuff like that. And I was like, oh my God, that freaked me out.
The tainted beef one was Toxin.
Toxin. Okay, yes.
Yeah, that's the one I got after he was holding his daughter's heart and he's a heart surgeon trying to save her life. Done. Nope.
Yeah.
Same age as my daughter at the time. I'm like, I am so fucking done with this book. No. My dad's like, but it's so good. You gotta read. No, I'm done. I'm not picking it up again. No.
I am over here looking at my book collection.
It's like Dad, if it wasn't...
I literally have so many...
I was like, Dad, if it wasn't the fact that it was your book, I would have burned the damn thing. I was like, I noped that hard on that book.
Nope.
I don't believe in burning books, but I believe that book should have burned. At least my personal copy, if I had one. Everybody else, enjoy it. Nope. Not me. Like, I actually finished The Finger. It did not help.
No, it doesn't.
No.
No.
Yeah, that's the Stephen King short stories are amazing. Laura, my wife, has Under the Dome. The TV.
I have read that.
I've heard that it stays pretty true. Like the TV series stays pretty true in the first season, and then it just goes off on its own thing. But Stephen King wrote every season. So yeah, the first season was so good.
Oh yeah,
and then after that, it was like, well, I already watched the first season. Then I get through the second season, I'm like, yeah, this is nowhere near as good. But I've already gone this far.
Okay, have you ever seen the TV show Haven?
No.
Or even heard of it? Okay, this is a show that ran on the Sci-Fi Channel, based off of a Stephen King novel called The Colorado Kid.
Really? I don't have the Sci-Fi Channel. I just never really got into it, and my dad has it. He loves it. I'm just like, eh.
I think Haven is actually available on Netflix. It's streaming on some service because it's been off the air for a while now, but it is a really great, creepy little show.
And see, if you come up with anything, just jump in.
Okay.
Like, I mean, like for you, what's your, like, I mean, if movies aren't really your thing, I mean, what, like podcasts,
books, music, anything,
books, anime. Like, what's your thing?
What's my thing? I usually just kind of stay on my phone, honestly.
Okay, so what are you doing on your phone? Just standing on it? I'm just kidding.
Usually just watching YouTube videos.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
I've fallen down many a YouTube rabbit hole in my day.
And I basically threw Bexy headfirst into Coyote Peterson climbing the insect sting pain index. The king of sting.
And then I spent probably 2 months in my free time. All I would do was watch Coyote Peterson videos.
Yeah, Coyote Peterson, you are a stud. I'm glad that you've gotten beyond just YouTube. I'm glad that you got onto Discovery Channel. You deserved it. Like, seriously, you are amazing. And I'm not going to lie.
Totally awesome.
I'm not going to lie. First time I ever watched him, he was a Yellow Jacket sting. I'm like, really? Okay, let's watch this idiot get stung and laugh about it. But he was so good. It was so detailed about the different pain. It was so, like, well done. He totally respected the insect the entire time. It wasn't just like, I'm going to go ahead and do this. It was so educational, so good. I was like, what else have you got? Okay, yeah. What else have you got? And by the next thing I know, I'm sitting there going, what's going to be the king of sting? What's going to be the most painful sting? What is it? You know, he goes up to the bullet ant, and he's like, oh, God, this thing hurts. It's a 24-hour ant, and it hurt for 24 hours. It is supposed to be the most painful sting out there. It's not.
Oh, it's not.
Yeah, he can say he knows for a definite fact. There's one in particular that kicked his ass for a week, and it made him retire from stings.
Oh, yeah.
He only did 2 other stings after this one. One was the Asian giant hornet, which they're like, oh yeah, this was supposed to be low on the pain index scale. He's like, hell no, this isn't low. This thing's way up there. He's like, it's not quite the bullet ant, but it's up there. I was like, ooh. And then he did a cicada killer. Like, when he gets stung, he does his usual, because, I mean, yeah, it hurts. And he's like,
it hurts.
And then he puts it back in the little protective glass thing. And he's like, that's not so bad. The pain's already starting to go away. You're like, this really isn't bad at all. I was like, yeah, but you're conditioned. I'm sure if you got a Yellow Jacket sting, now you'd be like, ow. But when you got a Yellow Jacket sting that first time, he's, ow!
Yeah.
But the one that knocked him for a week, I had sympathy pains. I hurt watching it.
Definitely.
You get used to his reactions. He reacted way differently on this one. Like, laying on his back, just... like, are you okay? And he couldn't respond. He was in so much pain, he couldn't respond to questions. It was kind of terrifying. Wow. But I tell you what, this dude is probably a very small stature. He just kind of has that small look about him and the small voice and all that. Dude's got balls bigger than I will ever have. He has all of my respects. He even faced his worst nightmare and let a giant centipede bite him. And he is terrified of giant centipedes.
Yeah.
Sam's frozen.
Uh-oh.
Sam's back. Damn it. I was hoping that face would have gone full screen so I could take a screenshot of it, because it was such a great smile. But seriously, see, if you ever want to, like, if insects, I mean, well, Bexy was terrified of spiders.
Yeah.
She loves
I
them
hated
now.
them.
She loves them now.
Yeah.
I can
That's
help.
all. That's all his fault.
It's all my fault. My ex-wife went from being terrified of spiders to photographing black widows with me. I'd lure them out, and she'd take the pictures, and she started luring them out. I would have pictures where she would use a macro. She'd use a macro lens to get a good picture, but if you actually shrunk it back down to reality, the black widow was less than an inch away from my finger when the picture was taken.
Oh my god!
I've taught my kids that there's nothing to be scared of. You just got to be smart about it. So my kids, I've taught them, you blow on the black widow, and they go running back to their hidey hole. And they only come out at night. They're not out at daytime. Well, I mean, the young ones are.
Mm-hmm.
But the young ones are brown and white, so, yeah. You'd never expect that the young ones were actually black widows unless you saw unless you saw the belly. You're like, it has an orange hourglass, but it's brown and white.
Oh.
It's like, yep, that's a baby black widow.
What the hell type of spider is this?
I asked that question the other day because I found one in my bathroom.
Yep. And
I was like, what kind of spider is this?
And I was like, I need pictures of the eyes.
Unfortunately, it had already been relocated.
You see, that particular...
I went to Reddit.
Yep, and Reddit's confirmed what I suspected it was. Because the marbled abdomen kind of really pointed towards it was a funnel weaver.
Yeah.
No, not to be confused with the funnel web. Those things are deadly. Funnel weavers...
The weavers, completely harmless.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They're actually... they can actually get caught in drains and not get out themselves, so sometimes they're called drain spiders.
Yep. They're also known as hobo spiders in some areas.
Yes.
Or grass spiders, or sheet web weavers. There's a lot of different names for them.
Yes.
They have decent visual acuity, but they don't have the binocular vision like a wolf spider. They still hunt mainly by touch. And it's funny, when they go to wrap up their prey, because like if you watch like orb weavers and other spiders, they literally wrap up their prey. The sheet web spider, or these spiders, they have to run circles around their prey to wrap them up. Because they can't spin it. So they have to substitute. They spin.
I sent a picture to the group text of us because it was a pretty boy or girl, whatever it was, girl. It was pretty.
I think the way I got you hooked on it first was just the mesmerizing little patterns that some of the spiders have on them.
Yes, and the jumping spiders.
Oh, those are the best. Peacock spiders. They're the greatest. But they're so tiny.
Yeah.
But yeah, jumpy boys. Those
Peacock spiders.
You've seen them or not?
The peacock spiders?
Yeah.
I've watched videos of them dancing to YMCA.
Yep, and of course, if some people are like, what's a jumping spider? It's like, you ever watch the videos of Lucas the spider? That's a jumping spider.
Yeah.
A little more adorable than a jumping spider, but not by much. Because they really do have those big eyes and that kind of personality.
And so I think it's just adorable that some of them wear raindrops as hats. It's so cute. You see a little tiny spider with a little raindrop on his head. It's adorable.
Yeah. And of course, then there's the spiders that live underwater. They actually make their webs underwater and fill it with air. And they eat minnows and mosquito larvae. You know what? I want them in my pool, in my pond, because they eat mosquito larvae. That sounds like a better way of dealing with mosquitoes than, let's go ahead and coat the whole thing with hopefully a suffocating layer of bleh. But I'm getting my wife has a migraine. She just said so. I'm gonna have to wrap this up.
Okay.
Yeah, that sounds good. I do have one thing that I want to throw out to everybody, to you, to see, to everybody who listens. And I shared this on Twitter earlier, but I think more people need to hear it. So to everybody out there who's feeling overwhelmed about what the future holds, the future isn't going to suddenly catch catch up to you. There's only today, after today, after today. And you don't need to know exactly what you're going to do a year from now, a month from now, a day from now, or an hour from now. Focus on today and prepare yourself for tomorrow. Because one day you'll be far past this day and wonder why you were ever worried. It's normal to feel overwhelmed, and you're allowed to take a break when you need one. Take it one step at a time. Take the moment, calm down, and know that you're loved.
That's awesome.
Good to end it off with, I'd say.
I agree.
That was really good.
Yeah, it was just
a good reminder.
A thought I had earlier.
I like it. That's really good. And also kind of falls in line with the greatest chess players only plan one move ahead. Because things always change.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, everybody.
It's true.
We already lost Kat for the night. Devern came back. And also May was actually sharing a little bit of information about Black Widows. Male ones are brown and white too. Some of them, I've actually seen some that were solid black, but they tend to keep their brown and white coloring their entire lives. And that's true that only the females are venomous. The males are not. They're actually quite harmless. And they tend to be snacks. So, yeah. Actually, I gotta say this. This is so funny. There is a specific species of crab spider that when the male is trying to court the female to mate, it offers a prey item, usually like a housefly. When the female's eating the food, he goes and ties all 8 legs to the ground, mates, and then runs like crazy. Because by the time she's done eating, she's going to view him as food, and the only way he can get away, because he's much smaller, is the fact that he bought himself some time by tying her legs down.
Wow. That's like one of those facts that I'm just amazed at. Like, I found out that sometimes I think it's an octopus will actually rip its penis off and throw it at the female octopus.
Yes,
when
it
it's
will.
Tired of mating, it wants to keep going. Yeah. It's like, here, bitch, go fuck yourself.
Literally.
Well, then there's also the male angel, the male anglerfish. At first, they thought it was a totally different species of fish.
Just kinda...
Yeah, they start mating with the female, and then they just become an appendage, lose everything. They just become an appendage.
Just attached to her. Yeah.
And he just becomes a giant testicle, just pumping in semen. That's all he does.
Oh my god, Devern just said BDSM with a spider.
I heard penises are shrinking due to pollution, says Devern.
Oh my god. Okay.
All right, so we're going to end this on penises here.
Yeah, so much for my very lovely, nice thought.
Right?
Penises, y'all. Peace out.
Yep. Last one, because this was kind of funny. Devern, I heard that human males will stop being able to produce semen by 2045. Okay.
Wow.
You know what happens then? And I'm going to end it with this. Handmaiden's Tale.
Skin babies! Wait, no.
Skin babies!
Yes.
That's the perfect ending.
Skin babies.
All right, everybody. See you guys next week. Hopefully, we actually do. Our guest is confirmed, right?
Yes. Yes. I have next week's guest lined up.
And I've reached out to the rest of the guests that I have scheduled, and they've all confirmed. So, fingers crossed. We are never doing 2 seasons again of scheduling.
Oh no.
This is just, Anyway, until next week, I'm a skin baby.
I'm Betsy.
And I'm C.
And we'll be seeing you next week.
Bye, y'all.
Hey.